It's 3 a.m. and you are doing mental math about whether you can afford gas to get to work next week. One unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical bill, and the whole month collapses. Most people think living on $30,000 or less means surviving on ramen noodles and wearing the same 3 shirts until they fall apart. Here's what actually happens when you learn the system. Your stress drops, your options multiply, and you start sleeping through the night again. I'll show you the exact numbers and the moves that make it work. My name is Ivan, and I help people understand money, personal finance, and building wealth. If you are interested in getting your finances on track and maybe even getting ahead of the pack, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this information helps you out. Here's why this matters. 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something. Meanwhile, people earning half that amount have built substantial emergency funds and are investing for their future. The difference isn't luck or secret knowledge. It's understanding that living well on less is a skill anyone can learn. And once you have it, you're basically immune to the financial anxiety that keeps most people awake at night. Let's start with the foundation. Your fixed expenses are financial quicksand. Rent, utilities, insurance, phone bills, subscriptions. These drain your resources month after month, whether you think about them or not. Here's where people make their first crucial mistake. They calculate affordability based on gross income instead of take-home pay. If you're earning $30,000 annually, you're probably taking home $22,000 to $24,000 after taxes. That's roughly $2,000 per month, not the $2,500 you might expect. Every dollar matters when you're working with this number. The golden rule for housing on a tight budget is keeping it under 30% of take-home pay, ideally lower. That means if you're taking home $2,000 monthly, you should spend no more than $600 on housing before you say that's impossible. Let me show you 3 strategies that actually work. First, house hacking. Find a small duplex or house with a basement apartment. Live in one part, rent out the other. Your tenant's rent covers most or all of your mortgage. I know someone who bought a small duplex for $90,000, lived in one side, and rented the other for enough to cover the entire mortgage plus insurance. Housing costs went from $800 in rent to basically zero. Second strategy, roommates. Splitting a decent 2-bedroom between 2 people often costs less than renting a studio alone. Plus, you split utilities and maybe groceries if you coordinate well. Third, geographic arbitrage. That's fancy talk for moving somewhere cheaper. If you're paying $1,200 for a 1-bedroom in a high-cost city, that same money gets you a nice 2-bedroom house in dozens of smaller towns. Yes, you might earn slightly less, but if housing drops by $500 or $600 monthly, you just gave yourself a massive raise in purchasing power. Now the part that destroys most tight budgets, transportation. The average American spends over $9,000 annually on transportation, car payments, insurance, gas, maintenance. When you're living on $30,000 or less, spending nearly a third of your income on getting around is financial suicide. Here's the harsh truth about cars. That shiny car payment might make you feel successful, but it's probably the single biggest obstacle between you and financial stability. Every month you send $300 or $400 to a car company is money that could be building your emergency fund or being invested for your future. The solution isn't going without a car. It's being strategic about your vehicle choice. Buy something reliable and cheap with cash if possible. A 10-year-old Toyota Camry or Honda Civic might not turn heads, but it gets you from point A to point B for years while costing almost nothing beyond gas and basic maintenance. I'd rather drive a boring car and have money in the bank than drive something impressive and be broke. If you absolutely must finance, never finance more than you can pay off in 2 years. Car loans beyond 24 months are wealth destroyers disguised as affordable monthly payments. For those in areas with decent public transportation, seriously consider going car-free between buses, trains, ride shares, and occasional rental cars. You might save hundreds monthly while gaining time to read or work during your commute instead of dealing with traffic stress. Let's shift gears to food. The average American household spends over $7,000 annually on food, with roughly half going to restaurants and takeout. When you're living on $30,000 or less, spending $3,000 a year on restaurant meals is a luxury you cannot afford if you want any financial stability. But here's what people get wrong about cooking at home. They assume it means bland, boring meals and hours in the kitchen daily. Completely false. With basic planning and a few key skills, You eat better than most people while spending a fraction of what they spend. The key is simple meal planning. Pick one day, usually Sunday, to plan meals for the upcoming week. This takes maybe 15 minutes. It's not about becoming a master chef. It's about avoiding the expensive panic that happens when you're hungry with no idea what to eat. Start with staple ingredients usable in multiple ways: rice, beans, eggs, chicken thighs, potatoes, onions, whatever vegetables are on sale. These sound boring individually, but they're building blocks of countless satisfying meals. Stir fries, soups, breakfast hashes, hearty stews that cost maybe $2 per serving instead of $12 at a restaurant. Here's a game changer most people overlook. Learn to love your freezer. When you find meat on clearance approaching its sell-by date, buy it and freeze it immediately. When you cook a big pot of chili or soup, freeze half in individual portions. You just created your own convenience food library, costing a fraction of store-bought frozen dinners. And the psychology of grocery shopping matters. Stores are designed to separate you from your money efficiently. Most expensive items at eye level, specific scents pumped in to make you hungry. Impulse purchases strategically placed everywhere. Going shopping when hungry is like going to a casino when desperate for money. The house always wins. Always shop with a list and stick to it religiously. If it's not on your list, you don't buy it. Period. When you're working with limited resources, every unplanned purchase pushes something else out of your budget. That $5 bag of chips might seem insignificant, but it could be the difference between having gas money for work next week or borrowing from someone. Now, let's address entertainment and social expenses. These can completely derail a tight budget if you're not strategic. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means being creative about fun and finding joy in experiences that don't require spending significant money. The pressure to keep up socially can be intense, especially when friends or family have higher incomes and different spending habits. When everyone suggests expensive restaurants or costly weekend activities, it's easy to feel left out or embarrassed. But here's what I've learned. The right people will understand and support your financial goals. The wrong people will make you feel bad about being responsible with money. Instead of always saying no, become the person who suggests alternatives. Host potluck dinners instead of going to restaurants. Organize hiking trips or visits to free museums. Plan game nights or movie marathons at home. You'll often find people prefer these activities because they're more relaxed and allow better conversation than talking over loud restaurant noise. Libraries have become entertainment goldmines most adults completely ignore. Beyond books, most libraries offer free movies, internet access, community events, even tool lending programs. Some have makerspaces with equipment you can use for free. It's like having access to thousands of dollars worth of entertainment and resources for the cost of your taxes, which you're already paying. Thrift stores and consignment shops should become your best friends for clothing or household items. The stigma around secondhand shopping is outdated and ridiculous. Why pay full price when you can get the exact same item for 20% of the cost? Some of the most stylish people I know shop mostly at thrift stores, not because they have to, but because they've realized it's simply smarter. Here's a mindset shift that transforms how you think about purchases. Before buying anything non-essential, calculate how many hours of work it represents. If you take home $12 an hour after taxes and you're considering a $60 purchase, that's 5 hours of your life. Is that item really worth 5 hours of your time and energy? Sometimes yes. More often, you'll realize many purchases aren't worth the trade-off when you think in terms of actual time investment. Emergency funds become even more critical on low income because you have less flexibility for unexpected expenses. Most experts recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, but when starting out on a tight budget, even $100 in savings prevents a minor crisis from becoming financial disaster. Start small. Even saving $5 or $10 weekly adds up faster than you expect. The goal isn't thousands immediately. The goal is building the habit of paying yourself first and creating a buffer between you and catastrophe. Once you have your first 100 saved, you'll be amazed at how much more secure you feel knowing you can handle a small unexpected expense without panic. Quick sanity check on subscriptions. These multiply like rabbits when nobody's paying attention. You sign up for a streaming service to watch one show, forget about it, and suddenly you're paying $12 monthly for something unused in 6 months. Do this with 5 or 6 services, and you just blew $60 or $70 monthly on digital clutter. Here's an exercise that might horrify you. Go through bank statements from the last 3 months and highlight every recurring charge. You'll probably find subscriptions you forgot about, software from some productivity binge, gym memberships unused since your New Year's resolution died in February. Canceling unused subscriptions is like finding free money in your couch cushions, except it's much more money happening every month. The subscription economy makes canceling painful. They make signing up one click, but require calling during specific hours or navigating 17 web pages to cancel. Don't let this deter you. That 15 minutes of mild inconvenience could save hundreds over a year. Now, the uncomfortable truth about social influence. Your social circle has enormous influence over spending habits. If you're constantly around people who think nothing of dropping $50 on drinks or impulse buying expensive gadgets, you'll do the same, even when it doesn't align with your goals. This doesn't mean dumping all your friends. It means being aware of how social pressure affects spending and developing strategies to handle it. When friends suggest expensive activities, don't just say you can't afford it. Offer alternatives fitting your budget. Most people will respect your honesty and appreciate having options. If you're dealing with friends or family who don't understand or support your financial boundaries, that's valuable information about their character. People who pressure you to spend money you don't have or make you feel bad about being responsible aren't looking out for your best interests. Let's talk insurance. You need it, but you don't need to overpay. Shop around for car insurance at least once yearly. The same coverage costing $150 monthly with one company might cost $90 with another. That $60 monthly difference adds up to over $700 annually. Significant money on a tight budget. Consider raising deductibles if you have an emergency fund to cover them. Going from a $250 deductible to $1,000 can often reduce monthly premiums by $30 or $40. If you're a safe driver who rarely makes claims, this trade-off makes perfect financial sense. Here's the contrast that matters. Average person on $30,000 or less, paycheck to paycheck, constantly stressed, one emergency from financial collapse. Disciplined person on the same income, saves 12 to 20%. Pays credit cards in full, keeps housing plus transportation under 50% of take-home, maintains 3 to 6 months runway, invests in broad index funds, avoids timing and fads. Same income, completely different life. One person is trapped, the other has options, choices, time. Living on $30,000 or less isn't just possible, it's actually liberating once you get the hang of it. You sleep better, knowing you're not drowning in debt. You stress less about money because you built systems that work. And you might discover some of your happiest moments don't cost anything at all. The strategies aren't revolutionary secrets, they're common sense that's become surprisingly uncommon. Pick one change today. Maybe it's setting up a $10 weekly auto transfer to savings. Maybe it's canceling one wasteful subscription. Maybe it's calculating your actual take home and setting a housing target. Start there. Build momentum. Become the kind of person who keeps money instead of wondering where it went.